Hi, I'm Jody Hand, Mrs. Hand Painted, and in my video today I'll be showing you how to paint in watercolor this misty forest. This would make a really great gift for Father's Day that's coming up, or you could turn it into a card as well. So paint along with me. Alright, to do this Misty Pines landscape, I recommend using a 100% cotton watercolor paper. If you are not sure which kind of papers you want to try out, you can try getting some of these test packs. I bought this one from Jerry's Artarama. I know you've heard me talk about that if you've watched any of my videos before, but I really like this brand of paper, and they have these test packs that have 4 sheets of 7x10 paper in them, so that's in inches. It's a great way to just test out some cotton paper if you're not sure. I just in particular really like this brand of paper. It's really nice quality, and I've practiced with it a lot, and it doesn't have too crazy of a texture for cold pressed paper. So I have that, and then I've got some masking tape, a ruler, and a pencil to draw my mask. And I'm going to use a wash brush. This is a 1/2 inch, just a flat wash brush. And then I'm going to be using a round size 4. These are from Princeton brush in their Velvetouch series. And you can use any round brush you want to do the trees, whatever you feel comfortable with, but something that's got a nice point so that you can do the small little tops of the trees. But use whatever brush you feel comfortable with. I'm going to start out by doing a diamond on my paper, and I'm going to use a ruler just to make sure that I get this really even. And I'm going to mark some on my pencil here. Or I guess this is 6x9. I said 7x10. It's like 6 1/4-ish by 9 actually. Okay, I am going to make it, let's see, go 7. I'll do 1 inch off the top and 1 inch off the bottom, so I'll just make a tiny mark there so I can line my tape up. And since it's 6 1/4, we'll just go in a 1/2 inch from each side. Okay, so I have my little marks in my corners, and then I can use that to make a nice straight line with my tape. I'm going to mask this off. So dot to dot here. And I'm just going to go ahead and use that to tape down to my desk here so that my paper doesn't buckle on me. I could, I guess if I really wanted to be able to move my paper, I would tape it to a board or a piece of mat board or cardboard or something, but I'm okay with it being in one spot for this particular painting. And I'm just using some artist's masking tape, but just something, if you have painter's tape or washi tape is good too. Just something that won't stick too badly to your paper, and it won't, when you peel it off, it won't rip your paper. So okay, hope that's the first part of making my misty landscape here. And I'm going to do this all in one color. I'm going to mix up kind of like a deep foresty green, and you can do that by taking like an indigo mixed with like a deeper green or a sap green, anything like that you have. I'm going to be using indigo and undersea green for my Daniel Smith watercolors, and I'm going to be mixing that together to make myself a really deep forest green. Now if you want, you can spray this just to get a nice even. I just have a little spritz bottle that I keep at my desk, and then I'm going to use my wash brush just to get that nice even layer in my masking zone. Alright, now the first step of this is we are going to do an even wash, really faint, of our color across the whole thing. So, like I said, I'm going to be mixing indigo, and I'm just using my wash brush still. Mixing some of that indigo with a little bit of my undersea green. And you can see I'm getting a nice kind of a foresty green color here. And I'm just going to add some more water to that to get that really nice and diluted. And as we go, we'll just add more pigment back into that so we get a more pigmented, concentrated color. Okay, so I want it to be the darkest at the top. I'm going to start up there and just go back and forth. You can add a little bit more, and if you don't get it the way you want the first layer, you can always just go back over with another layer. And we don't need to get as much down here because we're going to be adding lots of layers. So if you start running out as you get to the bottom, that's okay. I'm just going to sweep that up a little bit. And maybe add a little bit more up here. Okay, so to get that misty tree look, I need to do the first layer in the wet while it's still wet. So we are done with that wash brush for right now. I'm going to switch over to my round brush. I'm going to get just a tiny bit more pigment mixed up just so I get a little more concentrated color. Mixing my indigo with my green. Get that nice forest green color. Okay. So we're going to do a pine tree effect here, even though they're not going to look, it'll be misty trees in the background that you can't see very well. So I'm going to start in this top third section up here, and I'm just going to make some tree shapes, and it's going to just spread across and those will be far off in the distance there. I'm just kind of vary the height a little bit here. We're going to dry this after this step, and then our next layer of trees is going to be more detailed, so they're not going to be as blurred as this. So I have one that will be coming over here. All right, and I'm just doing a little bit here because we might have some of our other trees just kind of peeking through. Okay, so I'm actually going to go back to my wash brush here, and I'm just going to finish out the bottom actually. Make that a little darker. Change my mind halfway through there. Okay, I want to dry this, so you can either sit this aside for 10 minutes or so and wait for it to dry, or if you have a hair dryer or a heat tool handy like I do, go ahead and just give it a hit with the heat tool and dry it. All right, it's not 100% dry, but it's dry enough for me. Okay, so this next part, I'm going to dilute down my paint just a tiny bit so that I get kind of a medium. And if you want to have a little sample, I have some extra little strips of paper that I have off to the side here. You can kind of test and show, like here I've got one that's more concentrated, so that'll be my darkest shade in the front, and you can mix up, I'll just do this off to the side a little bit. You could mix up an even darker and show, like this will be my very, very front. So you can see your different shades. It's the same color, but I've added more water here, and here I have less water and more of the paint. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to start off with this very lightest that we have our wash of, and do layers on top that are a little more diluted, and then as we go to the front, it'll be our most concentrated. All right, so I don't have this all mixing together here. All right, so I'm going to do kind of a hill, maybe coming down this way. And some of these will be coming off of the page, so you won't see the top. And I'm just making the trunk of my tree to build my branches off of. And they kind of go down. You have some that just kind of come up. And just work your way down and get wider as you go. And if it helps to go off the edge of the tape, then go ahead and do that. Okay, and I'm going to add another one here. And you vary up your heights. Maybe you have part that is coming behind one. I'm kind of just dabbing my brush, really, is what I'm doing, and then smudging it. I'm not using any kind of fancy terminology here, but I'm just kind of making that line. I have a lot of water on my brush right now, sorry. And I'm just going away from that trunk that I've made and just varying up the size of my little smooshed marks. Okay. A lot of water on that brush here. Yeah, that's a little better. Just go ahead and put my trunks in there right now, what I want to do. Okay. There, and already you can see I'm covering up that area that had the empty space there. I tuck another one in there. And if you want to take another shade that's even lighter and just go behind, because ones that would be farther away wouldn't be as vibrant in color. Down a little bit taller there. I had one right in there. Okay, now I'm going to go back with my wash brush and just kind of add a little bit more for my background. Okay, I'm going to dry that again. All right, now I'm going to do an even darker shade. So like we said, I've got trees that are more about this, so now I want to go really dark with them. These would be up close, and I'm just going to overlap. Here I can even have one that comes up above. It's really big in front, and I just mixed up a little bit more there because I want that to be really dark. This is a little different for me because I really like using my dagger brush to make these types of trees, so it's a little bit different than I usually make them. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more up here. I feel like when I added some more paint there and that, I got a little bit different color. Okay, and I think I'll do one right about here. You can start off kind of sparse up here at the top too, because a lot of these trees, maybe the top is just starting to grow and it doesn't have a lot of pine needles on it yet. This one's just going to fill up my bottom point here. I think I'll just have like the very tip of one coming up here too. Alright, and the last step will be just to let this dry. Okay, now that that's all dry, we can take our tape off. And we'll just go in the reverse order. And I do recommend just kind of pulling it at an angle like this so that you don't tear. I think by me repositioning my paper a couple times, I did have a tiny bit of bleeding underneath there by accident. Alright, well there is Misty Forest for you. I think this will make a really nice Father's Day card actually. So if you're looking for some ideas for Father's Day cards, why don't you try this one out?